Purge your life force with gusto to ride that free feeling. Chapter 1. Inspired Spiritual Wealth. Once you have the practical basics, quality of life goes to inspired wealth. Suppose you have $10 billion. Suppose you're the king of the world. You wake up every day like every other human being feeling average. There is unused energy inside of you. If your practical needs are met, meaning you don't have to worry about paying for food or housing right now, then it doesn't matter if you live in a modest house or a mansion. The next step after this for happiness is to create it through what you do. What you own cannot give you sexual orgasms, life orgasms, or love. You have to create all these things yourself through what you do. Will you release that energy inside of you today or not? This is your life purpose by nature or God, whichever you choose to believe in. If you don't, you can't reach happiness or transcendence regardless of how much money you have or what your position is in the world. You'll never be happy by consuming material things or constantly being entertained, because deep inside of you your Creator gave you a sense of inner accountability to rise to the noble standard of who you were born with the potential to be. The fattest, most aimless couch potato anywhere harbors that fantasy, those visions and ideas of who he or she could have been and could possibly still be if he or she has the guts, inspiration, power, and energy to live that path to become that person in that vision. Everybody creates their lives one step at a time, day by day. Release the natural energy in your free spirit with love and passion for the process, one day at a time. That's all life is for enlightened, happy, fulfilled people. Capitalism says save, 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 build, build, build all you can to ensure your financial security as you age to last you for life. Suppose you have enough money to last a lifetime. Then what? There's more to life than the cheap thrills pop culture entertainment and shopping malls offer. It's a spiritual inspired need that has to be filled by noble people every day. Noble champions of life strive to release the natural inspired spiritual sensual loving energy inside of themselves every day. Other people do crossword puzzles, eat too much food and do other aimless activities. Releasing this natural energy inside of yourself is the only way you can ever be truly happy in the highest, most glorious sense. You have to do it almost every day. You can't bottle happiness and have it all the time automatically. You have to earn it every day through what you do. You can't set up your life so you got a nice house, a nice spouse and kids and you're automatically happy forever. You have to reach that standard of accountability to your soul every day to get that feeling like your life has worth, like you're doing what you were created to do, that makes you feel really good to be in harmony with the free spirit God gave you. Suppose you were a billionaire. Now what? Do you buy some meaningless professional sports team so you can pretend to fill some of your existential loneliness when you sit in the owner's booth surrounded by 15,000 fans of that team? Does that give you any deep, profound intimacy with your fellow man? Look for the intimacy in your free spirit with the God that created you. Try to please Him by doing something worthy with your life. A lot of rich guys play high-stakes poker. What's that all about? Does it give you intimacy with other people? Does it fulfill some self-destructive, undeserving feeling within yourself? Why are so many people unfulfilled? It's because they have not discovered that regardless of whether you're poor or financially secure, happiness on a deep level depends on whether or not you release a good dose of that natural energy inside of you day by day. If I don't release this energy, I start to feel a sense of spiritual emptiness overtaking me. If I'm ever in a nursing home with nothing to do but play cards because I'm so frail, I'll tell God it's time for me to leave my mortal body. My wealth is my ability to release my inspired sensual aesthetic loving lusty energy every day with love and lust for the process. You are who you are in your soul. That's it. What's it all about? Live right now. It's all you got. Tragedies and bad things can be all used to learn from and to get stronger from if you choose to overcome them, let them go and keep moving, releasing the natural energy inside of yourself no matter what. How much have you been indoctrinated versus how free and pure your thinking is? Remember, you were taught to answer to an alarm clock when you started going to school. They told you to go to college, so you went, graduated, and got some average job. So what? Is that really you? Do you believe you live in a democracy? Why don't you go to buildfreedom.com or tonykell.com and maybe learn something? The only way to keep a strong spirit day by day is to discover who you are in your true nature, then make a decision that you will honor that essence by releasing a load of that natural energy every day to meet that inner standard inside of you. I discovered the only way I could be happy day after day in the aesthetic, euphoric, spiritual, loving sense is to release most of the natural energy inside of me every day to honor the standard that I was born with. If I didn't do this, I would feel miserable, which is why I have no choice but to constantly keep releasing whatever inspired power lives inside of me. It's the only way to live a great life in harmony with your true nature. Now that I'm getting older, I find fear creeping in. I used to be strong and free. I watched my mother and father deteriorate. I have had some dark nights of the soul where I feared aging, death, and financial uncertainty. What am I going to do when I'm not strong and vital like I am now? Ultimately, we are promised life only in minutes at a time. I shouldn't worry, just do what I can as I live day by day. Follow your true nature without breaking any laws. This is all the wisdom anyone needs. Then you need the strength to release all that natural energy every day, day after day, without allowing yourself to get weak or distracted by the outside world. If you don't live by the purity in your soul, you're betraying yourself. This unused energy inside of you makes you feel empty, sad, and tense. The human race is full of self-betrayal. It's the tragedy nobody ever talks about. The so-called mental health industry seems to have missed it. What is a boundless release of natural energy? You know it when you're doing it, in the midst of it. It's a euphoric feeling of inspiration, goodness, and power. I don't see very many people talk about it as one of the great prizes of being alive. Søren Kierkegaard wrote about this high feeling he used to get when he was intensely inspired. He described it as a feeling of infinite possibilities. It never lasts. You have to renew it every day. My inspired activities are the release of physical and creative intellectual energy. I have to do this every day if I want to feel good about my life. That's the prize. Material things can't give it to you. People like to talk about love and family as being the prizes of life, but you are alone as an individual human being. You have to create happiness through what you do. You will not be happy simply by loving another human being / pet or they you. There is inner accountability given by God through the inner voice in your soul. Life has worth to me when I touch the higher reaches of my experience of the human condition. I can get there through drugs and sex, but hedonists who do this all the time know there's something missing. It's the force inside your spirit telling you to follow your true nature. When I release my natural energy to express my free spirit, I'm doing what God or the Creator, depending on what you believe in, if anything other than yourself, created me to be. This is the great secret of life that almost no one lives by because almost no one ever discovers it. The biggest reason for this is that most of us get massively brainwashed by the world system, even though very few of us ever admit to it. Most people stay in a state of bland mundanity all the time and never reach these higher states of consciousness. Therefore, they don't understand that I or anyone can live in a euphoric state of mind virtually all the time. The truth is that this is the only way you can get high on life. Love and affection are nice, but they still don't tap into your full spirit like when you're doing what you were created to do, which makes you feel great all the time, simply releasing all that natural potential energy that's inside of you every morning when you get up. A big illusion that screws people up is the glitter on TV. They're selling you capitalism, the idea that spending money will make you happy. I want financial security, but only with modest things. I don't need any luxuries. Another thing is the craving for intimacy. People are so lonely that they're looking for intimacy through social media. It's a big waste. Enlightened people don't need fake intimacy. Your true nature is the basic, Primal energy inside of you made up mostly of creative energy, physical vitality, intellectual energy, pleasure, euphoria, love, affection, and sexual energy. If you don't release these base energies every day, you very quickly get out of harmony with yourself, degenerate into a mess, and your body looks unhealthy to go along with it. When you see a pale-looking, overweight person, you intuitively know they ain't living a glorious life despite what they might say or how much money and status they got. You're a holistic essence. Mind, body, and soul all go together. When you're strong and happy, your mind, body, and soul are all vital. When you're not, your mind, body, and soul are a mess. We got these dead-looking people as our supposed leaders, moguls, and celebrities. Most of them don't look like vital people because they're not. They're playing out some egotistical role they got from society, which is not who they really are. The bottom line of life is what you do for your nobility as a human being, if anything. If you figure out how to do this day by day, you'll live as great a life as you possibly can. You have to do something tough that makes you blow off a load of energy. That's the only way to get that satisfied, high feeling. Some people get it through doing tough physical things. Some slave away at work they love to do, like our many inventors, business owners, teachers, doctors, computer programmers, etc. Others take on some social/activist cause and dedicate their lives to it. There's no way you can feel like a noble human being unless you put in the sweat equity to do something all the time, every day, that makes you feel right about yourself, like you're fulfilling the destiny you were put on this earth for. But it's not all about noble, high ideals. You do what you do in order to feel good about your life. You have one fixed image or archetype of strength and beauty. I believe that everyone in their fantasies of themselves in their ideal state sees a strong, beautiful, noble human being. The problem is that so many people lose whatever might have been strong, beautiful, and noble about them by the time they reach 35 years old. The measure of a great life is how inspired, strong, vital, loving, and free you keep your purity, essence, or spirit day after day, every day over your lifetime. Very few people ever figure out that this is what really matters, then figure out how to live by it. If you don't do this, you're betraying your true nature, which makes you feel out of harmony, like something is off inside of you. For me, it was a gnawing sense of emptiness that was always there regardless of how successful I got out in the so-called real world. I never felt quite right until I realized I have my own inherent standard and must live to honor it. If a person does not release their natural energy on any given day, they can't go higher than average mundanity in their experience of the human condition for that day. Over time, this self-betrayal of not releasing one's natural energy leads to misery and depression. This is the biggest tragedy in modern society that no one seems to acknowledge or talk about. The major natural energies are inspired, physical, creative, intellectual; sensual, hedonistic, sex; loving and affectionate; practical, what you must do to survive and thrive. Every morning when you wake up, you alone create your life through what you do or don't do. Work hard, people notice and give you breaks. Be anything less than a hard worker and the universe ain't gonna give you anything regardless of your so-called intentions. The capitalist version of happiness is to be a robot, set goals that you got from the system, then try to achieve them to hit the big score, make a lot of money and or get famous, win the big game, win the award, sell the most widgets. But nobody ever tells you that tomorrow morning you have to recreate your life all over again for that day. No mania from yesterday can sustain you today, not the greatest victory or party in history. When you wake up, you feel average. The only way to up your mood to the point of euphoria and transcendence is to release a good dose of natural energy to match your inherent standard of who you were born with the potential to be. I want to be physically strong, eternally inspired, creative, intelligent, vital, and I want to love and be loved by the few people and pets I deem important to me, so my life focuses around releasing my natural energy in these few areas all the time. Everything else is a minor delusion or amusement to me. Capitalist goals are for brainwashed nerds. I live to free my spirit, to release the natural energy inside of me. That's what life was meant to be, release your natural energy every day, not the artificial energy involved in trying to be successful in the rat race by society's standards nor what society defines for me as pleasure and fun. You don't have to believe me. There are other free thinkers around saying everything and everybody are screwed except for the few enlightened people strong enough and wise enough to separate themselves from the massive sea of indoctrinated people deluding themselves into thinking they're living great lives because they're following society rules, standards, traditions, and conventions, but they're not because they're not freely listening to themselves as pure individuals, therefore not living by their true, pure natures. So ultimately they're a bunch of pacified sheep silently working dull jobs, buying useless trinkets at the mall, then watching the crap on TV about pop star idols and dance contests. Isn't there more to life than this? Discover your true identity away from everything you've ever been indoctrinated by. After that, figure out who you were born to be by nature, then figure out a way to earn a living at it. Can you feel good all of the time? You can't feel good all time because you're surrounded by the pain and suffering going on in the world. You yourself have problems, mostly money, health, and relationships. I fear getting old. I see the changes. Sometimes I mourn a little bit about aging. I have a cataract. I've been waiting over a year after I got referred to see the ophthalmologist because of our slow public health system. Last year I tore my ankle. I hobbled for 3 months. I'm all about discovering your true nature, then living by it with gusto, but it's easy to be tired and also distracted by the artificial values of the world that go from capitalist ambition to pop culture entertainment. People get lonely. They sacrifice the song in their soul just to be around other people even if there is no real intimacy there. Look at all that internet social media crap. That's all fake intimacy, but people do it in droves. I jog down the street. I pass young people. They're texting on their phones. Why would anyone text all day long? Is anything that important that you have to do it walking down the street? Human life is moods, even for the strongest person. I was listening to a radio interview about the character James Bond, 007. One guy said the character James Bond goes through dark moods. I thought of myself and all that stuff I read about manic depressive creative people. I live the highs, but sometimes I get the lows too. It's not just a fatigue reaction, like if you do something really intense you're tired. I was really sad watching my mother with Alzheimer's. It took everything out of me until I realized that's life. You have to accept aging and death and keep running until you die. All life will die. What can we possibly do but honor our lives by doing something good with them that our Creator put into us? What else is there? I got tired of most cheap thrills by the time I was 28. I'm talking about pop culture crap, how they try to brainwash us into being stupid spectators as if that's gonna do something for me to make me feel something. I have to release the power in my spirit, even if it's just for me. I write stuff that no one will ever see. I will never make a dime off it, but I do it. It's like this pact I have to honor God. We have moods. We have to stay cool when we're feeling blue. Either keep moving or start dying. The rest of the book is just minor inspirational stuff because ultimately you create your own inspiration every morning when you wake up. That's it. You either get up and go for a walk or stay in bed. That's what everything comes down to. Do you lay around or do something active that comes from your soul? Truth in life. Your highest self is your true nature or soul given to you by God, your Creator. You have to live in harmony with this essence. Gather knowledge from the world, then spend a part of the day thinking about it to come to new insights and simple decisions about what to do next to advance your cause. The cause is to first find enlightenment, who you were born to be by nature, then do something with it to help people and earn a living. If it feels natural, it's right. If it feels artificial like making lots of money at some dull job, then it's wrong. You have the free will to live life according to your true nature or to betray this and follow the artificial values of the world. Positive thinking gives you energy and happiness. There is always fear of following your true nature, mostly because you have to earn a living, and quite often this is hard to do by following your natural instincts. The best you can do is to acknowledge what your problems are, then try to solve them while following your true nature to some extent. Life is not easy. It is often hard enough just to earn a living without following your true nature. You have to make hard decisions about what is really important to you. If you got kids, you owe it to them to work your dull job to pay their way rather than follow your soul and possibly be a starving artist. I don't know if karma is real, but it is best to try to be peaceful, loving and happy. Don't be greedy. Try to earn a living by helping others get happiness or success in some way. Negative people can mess you up if you let them get power over you. When you are low energy, you're distracted by something and not focused on the power in your soul. You have to renew inspiration all the time. I do it by writing articles like this. In order to feel strong, you need to eat healthy foods, rest, and get enough sleep. Sadness helps you get over grief when someone close dies. Anger is good because it helps you fight for what's right. Fear can help protect you from a dangerous situation. In order to be strong day after day, focus on what's pure in your soul. Avoid negative people and negative entities like violent TV shows. True freedom is making enough money to do what you enjoy with enough time and energy to enjoy it. Listen to the song in your soul and be brave about it. When a feeling of gloom envelopes you, you start thinking about negative things. I'm afraid of being a weak, old man. When I see myself a lot weaker than I used to be, I fear what I will be like in 10 years, but I can't do anything about it, so I live on to the best of my ability. The only way to break out of a negative state is to choose a more positive outlook. Life is what you choose. The soul grows from pain and suffering. The world is full of scoundrels ready to steal your money, your joy, your time, etc. Be wary of negative people sapping your life force. Life is about being rejected by others. Find your own sanctity in your soul. Don't take what anyone says to you in a negative way seriously. It's about you feeling good about your life. Learn about what really matters. Share your power. Enlighten and empower others. You were born for a reason that you will find if you pursue what energizes your soul and gives you a complete inner feeling of fulfillment. It is better to create the new than just attack the old. Don't criticize too much. Just present your new ideas. Can you live by compassion, cooperation, and the love for truth? Anger and rage are good because they are natural. They give you insights into what is wrong either with your life or the life of the world. Identify the problem, then work at fixing it. Our task is to return to the Garden of Eden within us and restore the Garden of Eden planet around us. Fill yourself with light. The divine plan is to be fully creative. Explore the world. Make mistakes. Learn from them. Have empty, unstructured time so you will eventually gravitate towards your true nature. The goal of life is to be who you are by nature. I just want to do what interests me. Find the joy in your life and follow it. I love my life. Someday I will miss it. I will be either old and crippled or dead. My spirit is still strong. I follow it because it's everything to me. All my life, I was interested in only two things: stimulating my mind and body, which together inspired a sense of euphoria in my soul. I intuitively knew that constantly exploring the world and exploring my thoughts keeps me feeling strong, free, pure, and good. It's the same process I use to keep my body feeling good and strong. I'm physically active for several hours every day. I had to figure out a way to earn a living from these things, which is why I eventually created the Strong Life Superbooks. My philosophy in life is to always release my natural energy, which keeps me feeling like I'm riding on air as much as is humanly possible. I figured out that it was because I release most of my natural energy every day to meet the inherent standard I feel within myself of who I should be and must be if I'm to honor whatever created me, reach the full potential of my genetic seed, and feel like I got power and game because I'm following my true nature and feeling good about it, kinda like a surfer riding a great wave. It's that simple for me. I can't buy into anything out there in the world like capitalism, materialism, ambition, religion, psychobabble, New Ageism, pop culture entertainment, the cult of celebrity, the mainstream news, etc. It's all a distant second next to me releasing most of my natural energy every day to both earn my self-respect and feel as good as I possibly can. It's a primal thing, being true to who I am the way I was born. I was a yuppie, but it meant nothing to me. I had to experience my life freely to discover who I was, then do something righteous and worthy with it. It's the natural drive to release the energy inside of me and at the same time do something good with it. I'm not ruled by what's going on out there. I'm ruled by the voice inside of me my Creator gave me. I know in my soul that I'm living out the higher reaches of the human experience. I'm as enlightened as any human being can possibly be. That's the gist of my message to you. You can feel like I do. Just have the guts and the strength to shut off your indoctrination. Live by the voice within yourself. Don't listen to anyone else. I don't care who they are. They might give you some helpful advice, but the bottom line of enlightenment and happiness is that you're wise enough to listen to your own purity as a human being regardless of what the rest of the world says. Listen to yourself. Follow your true nature. Your own life should be much more interesting to you than sitting around being a pacified consumer absorbing all that pop culture entertainment they're selling you. If you follow what you feel, your life should be active, inspired, euphoric, sensual, loving, invigorating and fun, as opposed to parking yourself in front of a TV, a computer game, reading the newspaper or some silly novel, absorbing other people's silly ideas. Your own ideas should be more interesting to you than any fiction anyone else created. I was lucky enough to be born in a modern, free, Western society where I grew up in a middle-class home with the freedom to do what I wanted within reason. The society anybody grows up in, provided it's free and prosperous, should be the background to manifesting or creating whatever they feel within themselves. It's all about being true to your essence as a human being, not about all the societal ideas, concepts, traditions, and conventions around you. They can be fun and interesting, but they are not necessarily who you really are. Many people follow society's values over their own inherent dispositions, then wonder why they never feel quite right or on with their lives. It took me 28 years to figure out I was a well-intentioned but culturally brainwashed guy who was following society's formulas for success and happiness, which always left me with a vague feeling of emptiness until I realized that I had my own pure inherent standard inside of me of how I should live and who I should be. After that, life was simple. Just release most of my natural energy every day and figure out a way to make a living from it. Live by my true nature in harmony with my free thoughts. This is the only true, pure way anyone can live the greatest life possible for themselves. Everything else is less than this, a product of delusion and inferior thinking. Discover your own bottom line truth unpolluted by the brainwash of the world, then honor it by releasing most of your natural energy to that end every day. The purpose of all education is to help you realize that you're strong enough, tough enough, and smart enough to follow what you believe in regardless of what the society around you says. The only rule is don't hurt other living things. That's all you need to know. Everything else in the social sciences is meaningless dribble. They call it culture or being a well-rounded, liberally educated individual, but all of it has one ultimate purpose, which I just said: follow yourself. Don't buy into anyone else's bull. I don't have to read literature, psychology, trashy novels, frivolous magazines, religious books, inspirational stories, the culture page in the newspaper, or philosophy books, because I already follow the highest order of life that all this knowledge is supposed to get me to, create who I was born to be in my true nature, brainwashed by none. Everything else is modern-day snake oil. Therapy is nothing more advanced than transient hired friendship. Life should be a great ride of fun and adventure by exploring yourself and exploring the world. If you have a bad day, big deal. You wake up tomorrow and keep riding it. There's no wounded, inner child past baggage that the psychobablists claim in order to sell therapy sessions and drugs. Depression is just uninspiration and self-betrayal by not following one's true nature. Granted, some depression is caused by sad things that happen like the death of a loved one or the loss of your money, but through it all, life goes on. If you sit around and mope, you lose yourself more and more. If you stay active and release your natural energy, you'll still feel good despite the emotional pain of loss. These books started when I realized the path I was on as a psychology teacher was a big waste of my life, so I left to pursue a bohemian lifestyle. After some free living, I realized I had been a brainwashed clone following the artificial ideologies of the world. All I had to do was follow the natural inherent standard inside of me and figure out a way to earn a living from it. The bottom line is that I enjoy burning off my natural energy. We're all loners. Men should become independent, unique individuals acting consciously as the originators of their own deeds. Everyone is a loner stuck in their own heads, known to no one but themselves. We connect here and there in bits and pieces, but even the closest among us are universes apart in the privacy of our minds, which is why you should not be neurotic about putting all your hopes on a mythical soulmate, kindred spirit lover you'll find who will change your life, like the old Moody Blues song says, because no one can really change your life. You are who you are by birth. The highest you can go is to get past all your cultural indoctrination to find your true self and live by it. You're stuck with your essence as a human being. You either honor it or betray it. It's like Tina Turner sang in the 80s, "What's love got to do with it? You spend most of every day alone in your head. You alone control your thoughts and actions." Modern Western society has a vested interest in promoting romantic love as the be-all and all to happiness. The sales machine wants you to get married and have a family so that you will become an eternal consumer, even if these things don't inherently make you happy, which is why you must examine your life closely to figure out what really makes you happy, not what somebody else said will. Most romantic sparks are gone after 5 years in a monogamous relationship. Most men and some women have no desire to raise kids. You have to discover what makes you happy day by day, and don't just accept the traditional societal paradigms without questioning them. What does it matter if your spouse is madly in love with you if you feel like a jerk for being a wimp? Like if you're overweight and can't lose it, you have some kind of addiction you can't shake, or you don't do anything to make you feel high on life and proud of yourself. Society tries to tell us love will solve all our problems. Love doesn't come close to self-respect, because if you ain't got enough self-love to try to reach your full potential as a human being, you'll always be messed up inside, therefore unable to love others fully, purely, and freely. In order to love greatly, you must first live greatly so that you feel good enough to want to be loving and not just be neurotic and depressed, wallowing in your own misery, looking for something to give you temporary comfort, which is where addictions start. Some music guy said the only time people are really united is when they're singing in a choir. It's got something to do with the vibrations of the music and the soul of it. I tend to agree. I don't feel united with the rest of humanity at a mall, at a church, at a parade, at a political rally, at a football game, etc. I accept my life in my existential solitary state. Most other people try desperately for some kind of intimate or pseudo-intimate connection somewhere, but everybody's got a different fantasy of love and happiness. If two people can find love and happiness, that's very rare. Most relationships are not love and happiness. They're pragmatic friendship and convenience. Marketers know we all want a loving connection to something, so ads and commercials exploit this to the hilt. All makeup and fashions are geared to make you look more attractive so you can attract your prince and live happily forever in fairytale land. Look at your dogs and cats. They're probably the living beings you get the closest to in life, but they still got their own identities and their own minds. Accept your life for what it is and you won't be neurotic or have the mental problems a lot of people have because they don't feel connected to other people and the human race at large. I just keep moving and burning up my natural energy. I live a pretty good life with this attitude. The capitalist pop culture world works very hard to try to create a fake in crowd of elite cool people on TV that they want you to buy into, then buy stuff to try to be a part of it in your mind. Why do people pay double for a product with a Nike logo over what similar other products cost? Nobody wants to admit the truth about the human condition, a bunch of loners, everybody stuck in their own little fantasy worlds. After you realize this, you can laugh at everybody putting on their pretenses, trying to act like they're important, cool or advanced. We think people are tight or want to be tight with some group or in crowd somewhere, but very few of us accept the truth. We're a bunch of blobs of flesh walking around like ships passing in the night, many of us with external symbols of pretense trying to impress others with how wealthy, important, elite, fashionable, cool, popular, superior or educated we are. Be strong and tough enough to get past all your cultural indoctrination to be the way you were born to be, purely without interference from anything or anyone. The best lovers are people like this, because when you're in harmony with your true nature, you feel good, you have energy to burn, and you want to pass your love on because you're feeling good. Everyone else is out of harmony with themselves, so they're neurotic, dealing with that internal angst they feel somewhere within their being. The invisible force inside of me. Be your own lamp. Seek no other wisdom beyond yourself. Let truth be your light. Buddha. There is a clean, straight purity inside of you that's distinct from everything on the planet. It's good and right. You have to live in the world to earn money. No one wants to be a total island. Everyone wants love with people and / or animals. Tailor your inner purity to what you want from the world. Use your power to help others to get what you want. Have love, gentleness and kindness in your demeanor. You don't have to win arguments or prove anything to anybody. It's one human race. You do not have to be patriotic to an artificially manufactured country. I instinctively knew I should honor some invisible force inside of me, even though I didn't know what it was or why. I had a vague feeling of emptiness that I wasn't on. I wasn't centered. There was something missing inside of me. Enlightenment is a fixed quality. Once you reach it, you're at the same level as the most enlightened human being who ever lived, or the most enlightened ideology ever created. You can't go any higher than a fixed level of enlightenment, despite all the delusions the world has about defining liberal arts knowledge and wisdom in terms of how many college degrees an individual might have, where he or she is ranked on the list of the world's most intellectual people. Such a list exists, how many books they read or how much knowledge they know quantitatively. It's not about school or book knowledge. Enlightenment is to reduce your life down to who you are and what you really want to do purely and freely. It's a process of separating yourself from everything in the world's sales, entertainment, formal, academic, religious psychobabble machine to discover what makes you tick, then living by it. I'm only perfectly happy on any given day if I use up most of the natural energy in all its facets that was inside of me when I woke up in the morning. The key to happiness for me is to blow my load of natural energy every single day. There's no mysterious, ethereal way to live. You don't have to chant, meditate, pray or adopt the lotus position of yoga. You don't have to study some fancy-sounding Eastern philosophy. There's a massive New Age delusion going around called interchangeably the law of attraction, the law of intention, or the secret. They say that the supernatural forces of the universe will grant you your wishes if you will them so with good intentions. You will get what you want multiplied many times over. I heard one of the guys on a PBS Pledge Drive show you have to get in sync with the harmonizing vibrations of the universe in order to be connected to the source. Anybody who claims to believe in metaphysical vibrations is either a con artist or a very brainwashed, lost soul. He said you get what you think about whether you want it or not. By this line of reasoning, all the starving artists would be multi-billionaires, all the Machiavellian people would be in jail rather than running most of the world as they do now, and all victims of crime and people with diseases did something bad to bring this onto themselves. It's all a massive lie. As a bohemian, most of my friends and kindred spirits are artists and activists. They're the most idealistic people around, having the greatest intentions of anybody. Their purpose is to create beauty, truth, perfection, and a better world. What could be more noble than that? Yet most of them are the proverbial starving artists. They barely earn a living through what they do. According to the law of intention, Everybody who has something bad happen to them somehow deserves it by the karmic law of the universe. This includes all people who are murdered, raped, carjacked, evicted, foreclosed on, born with a genetic disease, ripped off, wrongfully accused of a crime, heartbroken after a divorce, etc. The logic is that you attract what you give out. It's obviously wrong. People who go out into the world with naive good intentions are often sitting ducks for exploitation, robbery, abuse, rape, and even murder. The great con artists and crooks in the world are often the most charming people, great at faking good intentions in order to con people by acting like good people. Why do some people say no good deed goes unpunished? The people at the top of most companies, governments, and organizations are Machiavellian. They get what they want by playing politics, being ruthless and cutthroat with their competition both within the organization and with other competing organizations. The old adage goes, nice guys finish last. It's true for many fields of endeavor. The supposed great secret that the wise men of the past lived by is the law of attraction. The lie or implication is that they got what they wanted because their intentions attracted goodwill to them by some supernatural force in the universe. All these great men achieved what they did for one reason only: they believed in what they were doing from the natural power within themselves and worked their asses off. That's it. Many of them got punished for their efforts. Socrates, Jesus Christ, Ovid, Galileo, Copernicus, Columbus, Martin Luther, JFK, RFK, Martin Luther King, John Lennon, and Gandhi are just a few of the men with revolutionary ideas, therefore great intentions, who got smacked for trying to do the right thing. Virtually everybody wants a great romantic love with a soulmate, but how many people end up with a soulmate? Not very many. Is it because they're bad or their intentions aren't positive enough? What did all the stillborn babies, aborted babies, and preemies do to deserve their fate? At their age, they have no intentions about anything, but according to the law of attraction, they attracted bad karma. The joy of your spirit is the indication of your strength. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Every overweight person is a walking billboard of self-betrayal. The only way anyone gets fat is that they don't release their natural energy with honor and dignity for the sake of manifesting what their creator made them to be. Self-betrayal is unused energy. So is excess weight. You're either a strong, tough, naturally inspired individual or a pacified, weak brainwashed clone. Chapter 2. Why be like everyone else? The sales machine has seduced us. It's about the music inside of you, not any music someone else creates out there. You're born a certain way and that's it. There's nothing else unless you allow yourself to be molded by others. The modern world is constantly trying to sell us a good feeling through pop culture, entertainment, and material products. This mindset is so pervasive that many people can't see that you create good feelings about your life through what you alone do. You are a loner living in your own head. You create your life. Nobody else does or should. Many people think happiness comes from filling yourself up with something for sale out there. This is the massive indoctrination the sales machine has pulled on us. The marketing forces have convinced us that happiness comes from consuming material things and watching pop culture entertainment. If I watch TV, I'm always gonna see people singing or dancing on some channel. They look happy, like they're having a good time. That's because they're actively releasing their natural energy. If you sit around and watch that stuff, what exactly do you get out of it? It might lift your mood for a few minutes, but so what? The only way you're gonna get true joy is if you actively do something you love to do. If you dance around or sing, that's way different than sitting around passively watching something. I was 16 or so, I started seeing that it was the same thing over and over again, packaged in a slightly different package. I get a much bigger kick doing things that I want to do rather than sitting around watching other people do stuff, most of which is meaningless and lame to me. The sales machine has gone much further to convince us that people with college degrees in liberal arts subjects are more advanced intellectually than other people, thus selling us on the lie that formal education is the path to happiness and success. It's not. The ability to think freely on your own is the highest way you can live. Everything else is someone else's brainwash. They pretend they have a science of human behavior called psychology and mental health, which means they supposedly know more about you than you know yourself and can classify you with specific mental conditions and personality types based on all this mysterious, advanced psychobabble they have, but it's all a big lie, like the Emperor's new clothes or the Wizard of Oz hiding behind the curtain. I have no qualms with the physiological study of the organic brain, but everything else is totally meaningless doo-doo. For the brainwashed people who buy into this, it's a tool of power the system uses to control you, to pretend they know something advanced and official about life you don't know. We've created a pop culture idolatry for ourselves where the so-called pop stars are supposedly the cool people, the popular in crowd, just like it was in high school if you believe all them teen movies out there which always have the cool crowd and the nerds and geeks. This popular in crowd supposedly sets the standard of what a great, happy, successful life is, and we're supposed to be a bunch of sucker plebeians buying into the stuff that's there someplace over the rainbow, made up of advanced, beautiful, friendly, smiling people that we can enter for a minute or two if we buy the trendy stuff they advertise in the TV commercials, dream real hard and eat our cornflakes. The pop culture entertainment business is people manufactured to portray an image of being cool, friendly, good-looking, sociable and fun, but it's a fake job because it's all about making money. Millions of lost, lonely people fall for it, looking to get some pseudo-love from these intimate strangers who don't even know they exist. No man needs to wear earrings. No woman needs to color her hair. These things are done for image and ego, not soul. A great tool of marketing is to make people feel deficient by creating an illusory standard of coolness and success so that all these suckers will think this is what happiness is, then bust their butts trying to reach the standard of living of the mythical Joneses. If they eventually live in a house bigger than they need, surrounded by lots of trendy things, and get a membership to the local country club, to me it's like, so what? There's only you and what you create every day. You either release your natural energy to get some highs out of your spirit or you don't. Beyond a basic level of comfort, the material world can't make you a happy, complete person. Smart capitalists are so good that they've made things like professional sports, professional wrestling, video games, movies, TV, romance novels, fashion magazines, and pop music the supposed cool stuff of the world that cool people consume. Most of us have been brainwashed to think it's cool, cutting-edge stuff, so we're going around being cheerleaders for this stuff because we think it makes us look cool to other people. We have the coolest gadgets, but we're a bunch of pacified, brainwashed lost souls plugging into these machines looking for something when we don't realize the connection you're looking for is the connection with the primal noble nature your God gave you. But this line of thinking doesn't make money for the corporate heads, which is why you rarely see them trying to get people to think for themselves and do something inspired and original with their lives. Culture, supposedly refined and cool, not self-delusion. Everybody's looking to watch somebody do something in order to get pleasure or a thrill, but the only way to get real pleasure or a real thrill is to do something for yourself. You can never get high on life sitting on your ass watching some cultural or entertainment performance. If you do, it's just temporary self-delusion, like all these people acting like they're grooving when they see some pop star doing his thing. It's more about identifying with the image over the music standing on its own. Art and culture are supposed to capture something real, beautiful, or transcendent about the human condition, but how much of what comes out all the time can you say does that? To me, it's less than 5%. To me, modern-day pop culture is a big part of the destruction of the minds and bodies of our citizenry. Plenty of us are overweight and have weak minds. We don't do anything on our own from whatever power there might be inside of us. We just keep watching life as it exists on a screen, then try to imitate what they tell us is cool stuff, which often means buying some trendy clothes, a certain model of a car, hair color, fabulash, etc. Most culture is a synonym for somebody else's bull tea. It's great to learn about other people's cultures, share your version of the human spirit, and find inspiration, entertainment, and intimacy from other people expressing themselves, but it's like the late, great Michael Jackson said, it's about the man in the mirror. you honoring who you are away from the stuff out there. This book is to tell anyone who's been massively brainwashed to get off the kick about plugging into other people's cultures and their vain ramblings to listen more to yourself. Trust that and live by it over and above anything else the world might give you. When I was a young guy, I was a pop culture clone like every other young person and interested in fine arts culture at school in order to learn about life, but at about the age of 17 or so, I started to realize it's the same thing repeated over and over again in a slightly different form with new characters and new titles, but I've already been there and done that, so it all started fading away from my consciousness. To me, it's fake thrills, trying to get some happy, positive feeling by sitting on your ass watching somebody do something which is usually some highly orchestrated, scripted routine. The originality is gone. Nothing done by watching something while sitting on your ass can remotely touch how you feel when you actively do anything. It could be something as simple as walking or running for a while. That will do more for you than anything. I'm supposed to get an emotional connection to some of these pop culture celebrities and buy their stuff. The truth is that it's them trying to manufacture a cool image about themselves so they can make lots of money, so they won't have to work a regular job like you and all the other suckers supporting them. I prefer to live in my own free thoughts and actively do things rather than plugging into any of it or acting like a fan of some of it. If anybody is a fan of anything other than themselves, their family and their close friends, that's what I call someone who's at least a little bit of a lost soul. It's not like the music videos on MTV express the noble spirit of humanity. It's more like massive indoctrination based on images of coolness and trendiness manufactured by music producers in order to try to sell us their music CDs and anything else they can sell related to it. They're trying to manipulate people as to what's hot stuff so they can sell them something. That's not culture. It's capitalism, manufacturing some phony cool image in order to suck the weak people in among us so they can buy this crap and feel like they belong to some illusory in-crowd manufactured by the pop culture marketing executives to make money. In school, they tried to tell me that culture will enrich my life, but what it really does is take away from me living purely, creating my own culture as I live it. It conditions you to be a spectator, always looking outside of yourself for the next piece of entertainment to get a thrill, as opposed to taking your life for a ride of your own personal culture through what you feel and do from within yourself. I remember seeing a big display for some novel at a bookstore. It's like someone decided that this is the next hot novel, then went on a massive marketing campaign. It's not like the intellectual literary crowd had much choice in the matter. It would be uncool if they didn't read it. If somebody was really smart, they wouldn't waste their time reading novels. They would be doing something, anything that releases their spirit, not sitting around absorbing somebody else's bull. You can't reach your potential for euphoria and transcendence by absorbing other people's stuff, even though the massive entertainment industries try to tell you otherwise. You have to find your own potential for inspiration and bliss, then live to purge that energy. Besides, most of what they call culture is pretty average to bad stuff. I remember going to a James Bond movie when I was a kid. I think it was on Her Majesty's Secret Service with Kojak, Telly Savalas, as the bad guy. Everybody I was with was excited or acting like they were, but to me they were just meaningless images on a screen. Even at 10 years old, I intuitively knew I was being manipulated by all this artificial, pretentious mass media garbage because I felt no emotional connection to any of it. It was too orchestrated and fake for me to feel any love for the characters or a rush within my spirit from it. What is a character like James Bond acting like some cheesy, super cool, superhuman, arrogant ass supposed to do for me? Is he supposed to be cool? How stupid can you be to buy into this stuff, as if it's gonna gimme some kind of phony indoctrinated thrill that's gonna take me higher in my ride of the human experience? Then they taught me all that literature in grade school that I couldn't relate to, not just because the characters in it weren't like me, but because my life is about creating my own story, not reading about other people's stories, especially if they're fiction. Huck Finn comes off as a free-spirited kid bucking the conventional way of doing things by laughing at racism, but I don't care because it's a made-up story. It's just some myth that Samuel Clemens created. Anybody can create idealistic, Soppy prose. I'm way too cynical to buy any of it. Who's to know who Clemens really was in the privacy of his mind? In real life, he described himself as vain and self-centered but added that he was able to cover it up with good breeding, as he said. He was so obsessively status-conscious with his big house in Hartford, Connecticut that he had to create a pen name, Mark Twain, in order to allow himself to be free and untamed enough to write about Tom Sawyer. He went around wearing white suits all the time, thinking he was a big-shot celebrity after he lost most of his money as a speculator. Why should I be impressed by him? The only thing he taught me is that it doesn't matter how much of a big shot you think you are, you're still the same person you were born as. He messed his life up by trying to be a big shot instead of himself. People don't care about your vanity. They care about living their own lives, except for the flakes who are fans of other people. He didn't have to wear white suits and prance around with some airs about himself. Why couldn't he just be himself without worrying about what people thought of him? My character was inside of me when I was born. My beauty is in my pure free spirit, just like your beauty should be in yours. The purpose of life is to discover it and live by it, not to learn about what other people do or did. Our schools teach us a bunch of meaningless facts, but they don't teach us how to be free-thinking, autonomous individuals. Your life should be your art form. They're always telling you to follow anything but yourself. Marketing golden rule. Your life should be your art form, not all the pop culture stuff you see on TV. Occasionally I come across a true work of art or beauty that inspires me and takes me higher for a minute or two, but it's rare, and on top of that, I've found that the greatest music, movies, or stories I come across last at the most maybe 10 minutes for elevating my consciousness, simply because I can only achieve transcendence, inspiration, beauty and a sense of free, pure ease by actively doing things, releasing my natural energy, not by being a spectator of somebody else doing something. You have to take your life for a great ride of exertion on its own, unfettered by anything you got from someone else. That's what freedom and enlightenment are. The best movie I ever saw in my life was Papillion, an adventure escape movie from 1974 based on a real person's life, but the adrenaline rush it gave me while I watched it still can't come anywhere close to how I feel when I go through my routine of physical, creative, intellectual, sensual, and loving pursuits virtually every day. It's just a long-distant memory now. There was something there that captured my spirit at the time, but it can't touch the intense release of my free spirit as I live my life day by day. If I listen to a great song, it feels good for a few minutes, gives me a transient thrill of beauty and emotion, then it's gone. I feel good when I get drunk, then dance around like a drunken fool for a couple of hours, but it's the action and the intoxicants that are doing it for me as much as the music. Then it's gone. It doesn't give me a sustained sense of well-being. If you look at people, you can usually tell who's getting joy out of their lives and who isn't. It's simple. Who is releasing their natural free spirits and who isn't? It shows in their faces and bodies. It's like a dog. Coop him up in the house, which is unnatural to him, and he gets depressed. Let him run around freely and he thrives. Put a human in a dull job on a schedule, then give him stupid TV shows to watch, and what do I expect? I need something that will elevate my mood and state of mind for a sustained amount of time. If I want to feel high about my life, I have to create it by doing something tough, inspiring and exhilarating that makes me feel strong and free for riding my life like a powerful racehorse. You own nothing but your spirit, then you die. If there's anything eternal about you, it's your spirit. You can learn about anything you want from the world to help you live a better life, but if it invades your being to the point that it indoctrinates you and covers over your true essence, you lose the game of life. When all the smoke clears of how to live day by day with all the psychobabble and self-help they're selling nowadays, it comes down to how strong you can keep your spirit every day all your life. A life of trivial pursuits, always looking for something to buy or entertain yourself with, can't give you a sense of fullness you only get by going all out in what you want to do that's tough, inspirational, and exhilarating from the deepest core of your soul day by day. If you don't release whatever natural power there is inside of you on any given day, you lose the game of life for that day. Multiply this by thousands of days. That's why we have an obesity, depression, addiction, spiritual, aesthetic, existential epidemic in our modern societies, loss of self day by day to the capitalist, pop culture forces of the world. Some people seem content to sit around, eat chocolate, read novels, watch TV and drink rum, but anybody who lives like this cannot possibly be happy in the aesthetic, spiritual, transcendent sense, because you're not doing anything to make you feel proud of yourself that gives you a rush out of your life. There's no united humanity anywhere. There's no united humanity anywhere. It's just an illusion put forth by religions, political parties, the government, sports teams, social clubs, organizations, and corporations trying to sell you something. People think they belong to some group or some in-crowd united by some cause or interest, but they're still loners stuck in their own heads. We seem to have a great need to feel connected to others in a tribal, communal way, but with any group I've ever belonged to, I felt like it was a bunch of individuals connected for some superficial reason, like a sports team or a choir at church, not like an intimate family, a blood brother, tribal, or a brotherhood of humanity thing. I don't think it's possible except at Galt's Gulch in Ayn Rand's novel Atlas Shrugged. People have been fighting each other because of their individual desires and wants since the beginning of time. We're too individually self-centered to reach out and love each other as human beings. We all have our different ideas of what we want to be happy. It's natural for us to like some people and loathe others by intuition and prejudice alone. The bottom line is that you live alone in your own head like everybody else. Your first loyalty is to yourself and your piece of the world. We're territorial and self-centered by nature, even though no one wants to admit it. If we were really as loving as we think we are, we would share what we have with others to eliminate poverty, but it's about getting what you can for yourself and protecting it from the unwashed masses while you think you're a good person. Look around. Why do we live in houses bigger than we need, full of junk we don't need, while there are homeless people a few miles from where we live and 30,000 kids dying of malnutrition every day? No one will ever understand you. Very few people will ever care to understand you, including your spouse and children in many, many cases. You can try to do something noble and worthy to help your fellow man and feel connected with the human race for a while if you want, but at the end of the day, the only way you can possibly hit euphoria, well-being, and transcendence day after day is by going for your limits and meeting or surpassing them almost every day. Even romantic love dies. A British study concluded that the romantic love is gone in virtually every relationship after 30 months. Most couples are housemates rather than great romantic lovers. Any fans you pick up along the way are just weak people not strong enough to walk their own paths. That's why I'm not impressed by compliments or trophies like the many people desperate to attract attention to themselves, just go on MySpace or YouTube, as if that can help them be happy. A great life is to look back and say, I did what I was born to do freely with all my heart, guts, and soul. I took my life for a great ride for the sake of the free spirit my Creator endowed me with. If you make it to a nursing home with an old body, all your contemporaries and the kids you went to school with will either be gone or faded. All you will have left is that inherent spirit you came into this world with. The only question will be, did I honor it to my satisfaction while I had the power in my younger days? Then you'll die and merge back with your Creator. If you allowed yourself to get polluted by the illusions of the world, your God will see it and know you failed at honoring who He created you to be. That's the downer, to live your whole life following some silly illusions from the capitalist, pop culture world only to get to the end to realize you were a brainwashed clone following Big Brother's ideas of happiness and success as opposed to your own. The real ending of the novel 1984 is not to get to the end and fall in love with your paternalistic Big Brother who'll screw you one way or another like they shot Winston when he least expected it, but to get to the end and realize you were a sucker for buying into Big Brother's agenda, thereby denying the expression of your free spirit. A lot of people go to the grave not realizing that they were massively brainwashed all their lives. When I wrote my love book, I read a survey which found large differences in the way people thought of themselves compared to what their spouses thought about who they were. If you don't even know your own spouse, don't kid yourself about belonging to any tribe of like-minded kindred spirits, because it ain't happenin'. My purpose in this book is to tell you that no other human being knows what's in your head, so no one can possibly have some advanced knowledge about life that you can't discover within yourself. You should become as cynical as I am when someone tries to pretend they got some advanced liberal arts, psychobabble, self-help, new age, religious knowledge about life because they got a few academic degrees in the stuff that they're condescendingly pretending to help you with. It comes down to ego, the pecking order, people trying to position themselves higher than you in this illusory hierarchy created by stupid people looking to rate themselves higher than others to boost their sense of self-esteem, but we're all loners. The only one you really answer to is yourself. You're a case study of one. You walk your own path known to no one but you. If you're not bothering anybody else, nobody has a right to judge you and make you fit some definition of functional or normality they're following, which is what they're doing in grade school, trying to make kids fit into their narrow-minded box of a functional life. The ideology of free spiritism is superior to every linear, discrete self-help, psychobabble theory ever created because there's no double-speak, verbal diarrhea, pedantic-sounding bull. It's just you honoring who you were born to be. If you don't have that place of peace and joy within yourself, you're always out of harmony with yourself, so you're always messed up, which means you can't be a great lover of others because you don't love yourself enough to explore your life to its fullest freely without allowing yourself to be brainwashed by anything. What we call love in the modern world is mostly a dependency thing. You think that person X will fill up whatever is missing inside of you, so many people with half-assed, unfulfilled identities seek a relationship to fulfill them, but it never works because, just like Ayn Rand's novel The Fountainhead said, you have to have it going on within yourself alone first before you can ever be a truly great lover of another person. How do I know this? I simply observe all the half-assed relationships and individuals around me. It's a big wasteland. It really is. Despite all our technological advancements, we're a bunch of rank amateurs when it comes to trying to live true, pure happy lives. If you don't know who you are, you're a walking mess of contradictory emotions. I believe most people are like this after having observed them all my life, trying to figure them out before I realized most of them don't come close in trying to understand their lives and live by what they find within themselves. Next to my own personal search for enlightenment, I gave up on trying to learn about life from others and got on with living my own life. As I discuss in my love book, more people are in love with the idea of being in love, which is blasted at us through the mass media all the time, than being in love purely for love's sake. Tapped into the wave. Most of us work jobs or go to school doing things that we're not particularly interested in or excited about, so at the end of the day, the natural pure potential energy you woke up with in the morning is still inside of you unused. Multiply this unused energy inside of you by 10, 20, or 30 years. Add overeating, consumerism, addictions, and couch potatoism to it, sitting around watching TV. Your body gets soft and fat and your spirit follows. Fat is unused energy. It represents how miserable and out of harmony someone is. The more excess weight, the more sad. It doesn't matter what face an overweight person is putting on for the world. Nobody dreams about themselves as overweight people. They dream of themselves as beautiful, vital, strong, youthful looking, sleek, slim, sexy people with a lightness in their step. Fat represents a loss of this dream or vision. It makes a person feel out of harmony with themselves. Every overweight person is out of harmony with themselves proportionate to the amount of excess weight they're carrying around. You can't divorce your body from your spirit. If you feel light, strong, sleek and springy, you feel good. If you're carrying excess baggage and lumbering along, your spirit feels weighted down. The images you sometimes get of yourself from your soul are strong, beautiful, idealistic action shots of you. The further you are away from these mental pictures in real life, the more messed up and sad you are. We like to measure success in terms of job position and socioeconomic status, but real success is honoring your inner voice or these mental images you get of yourself. Whatever is divine that created you gave you those inner thoughts because that's the person you were born to be. If you don't follow them, you lose. there will be regret in a moment of honesty. What do you really want to do with your life? How many people are aware that the massive marketing machine is trying to control them and actively strive to be themselves in the face of it? It's self-betrayal to not use up your natural energy but instead fill yourself up with all the vagaries of a lost consumer passive spectator society. This is the big existential crisis of life in the modern world that no one wants to admit to or talk about because there's no profit to be made in telling people everything's a lie or a bunch of lame psychobabble pop culture pseudo-religious verbal diarrhea crapola. Know who you are the way you were born. Honor it by releasing a good dose of natural energy to that end every day. Figure out a way to earn a living from it and run with your free spirit to get a good to great rush out of your life every single day. After all the smoke clears of whatever success and fame you achieve out in the world, it will be just you alone every morning when you wake up. The only permanent thing you own is your essence as a human being. Honor it every day and you'll always have that lightness of step that only a few people have. Your self-worth is at least partially determined by how primally attractive you think you are to the opposite sex. If you're paunchy, pale, and got that dull middle-aged, generic look, all the money in the world can't give you sex appeal. Live by your true nature and you have a primal beauty about yourself. Once you've lost this sense of youth and possibility within yourself, all is lost. There's no romance, not even the fantasy of romance, which is what romance is anyway, a dreamy state of mind. All you own in life is your body and spirit. Your purpose is to keep this holistic essence strong, inspired, loving, sexy and free all the way through until you pass. The only way to live greatly is to try to hit a grand slam in the release of your natural energy every day. Think of your sexuality. When your sex drive is strong and you're constantly releasing it, you feel good, relaxed and maybe even great. When it's weak and you're not releasing it much, you instinctively feel like a dud. It's just like your life force. Release your natural energy and you have a life orgasm. Don't release it and life goes anywhere from a flatline to depression. You're tapped into the natural flow of your life when you're running with it, feeling pretty good like the chorus of your favorite song, going along like you're in the so-called groove, the zone, or as some people call it, you're unconscious. You're riding this euphoric feeling kinda like a surfer rides a wave. Chapter 3. They lied to me. The lies of happiness. If you talk to people much, you'll soon realize that almost everybody has been well indoctrinated to spew out the mainstream, politically correct line of defining happiness as being in love with a soulmate and having a warm, supportive network of family and friends around you. Nobody wants to admit that happiness to them really means to have lots of money and material things and be recognized as a special person of status within the community, fame, popularity, elitism, entitled to more perks and respect than average people. But this is the message constantly bombarded at us through the capitalist pop culture ideology in all its facets, school, parents, mass media, etc., and it's closer to what people really want rather than the flowery delusion about love being the key to all happiness. Why do all those people line up to try to be idols and stars on all them reality TV shows? Lots of people want others to think they're special. The word celebrity comes from the word celebrate. You celebrate someone because we presume that person has done something great or noble, but nowadays celebrities are pop culture entertainers, models, professional athletes, and a few rock star politicians. All music videos are the same, a bunch of meaningless images strewn together, usually with some pouty person preening for the camera that we, the plebeians, are supposed to think is the cool pop star. How many action movies should you watch before you realize they're all the same, a bunch of meaningless gunshots, explosions, car chases and punky one-liners that are supposed to be cool? What exactly do they do to entertain you or help you live a better life besides making you think that violence is the solution? It's a definition of entertainment some movie executives created, and now they're selling you the lie that watching them means you're a tough, red-blooded macho man with the right stuff. While I look at it and say to myself, then they wonder why American men are so violent. Every game in any sport is the same as every other game. The ball or the puck goes back and forth. How long can you be excited about watching that unless you're a brainwashed sucker trying to fulfill the stereotype of the good, old wholesome boy watching sports on TV? The best you can do in life is follow your own original path by what you feel within yourself and don't concern yourself with what other people, especially strangers, think of you, either good or bad. That's what a real artist and free spirit is, not someone following a formula fed to him by others. What's the purpose of fashion as opposed to normal, neat, functional clothes? Who really needs a fancy car, yet why do so many people want them? What do video games do for you? What's the thrill of watching somebody else do anything? All inspiration should come predominantly from one place, the action shots you get of yourself that come from the depths of your true being. Can anything from out in the world come close to honoring the person you were born with the potential to be by releasing whatever might be inspired, beautiful, transcendent, sensual and loving within yourself? Who are you, a generic clone or your own original person? I had all the stuff for the conventional versions of happiness. I had all the standard stuff for the conventional definitions of happiness, but it wasn't enough. I still wasn't happy. I had a girl who loved me, had family and friends, owned a house, had a bunch of home decor and other useless junk, had a cutting-edge propane barbecue, had a decent job as a teacher which gave me some status in the community, but it didn't mean much to me because I wasn't satisfied with my own life within myself, on the inside. All this stuff was outside of me. It didn't originate from me. I discovered that in order to feel good every day for the rest of my life, I have to answer to an inner standard to earn both my self-respect and reach a level of anywhere from well-being to transcendence by purging the natural energy inside of me with some gusto every day to the point where I feel a primal, inspired, loving, sensual, free, pure sensibility within myself, like I'm doing justice to this archetype or genetic seed I was born with that I feel is my identity, who I am, who I want to be. People think that if they find someone to love and or make a lot of money, they'll be happy all the time, but it's not enough because you have to earn your happiness every single day, releasing energy in doing something you love to do that gives you a sense of identity, satisfaction, and joy. If you don't do this, you lose yourself little by little, one day at a time, until you're a soft, generic person with no spring in your life. If you don't believe me, stand near the entrance to any shopping mall for a while. I create my life through what I do, through my own actions. People wonder why they feel empty, mundane, miserable, and depressed even when they've got money and people who love them. Granted, some people have money problems and relationship problems, including feeling lonely or unconnected to others, but all existential loneliness stems from the same thing: you don't feel connected to yourself as an individual, therefore you're not using up your natural energy and satisfied that your God created you that way, so you feel lonely and think you'll find fulfillment by connecting with other people, but it's all band-aids on the real problem, a person out of harmony with themselves. Happiness is a big purge of your life force. The bottom line rule of all societies is don't hurt other people, and to a lesser degree don't hurt animals, nature, or property. This is the one rule everybody has to follow, but beyond that, your life is yours. You don't owe anybody anything except to earn your own money and pay your own way. Depression is not complicated. The mental health industries just make it seem so because they want to suck money out of you. The solution to all depression is to run with your life, releasing your natural energy to try to get some joy out of the deal and not to wallow in all that psychobabble, psychoanalysis they're trying to get you to buy into, which is stupid, to focus on the negative things in your life which will supposedly resolve your inner conflicts, but all it does is keep you feeling sad and mundane. I discovered that once I had my bills covered, more cars, more clothes, more stuff, bigger houses, or a higher position somewhere didn't do anything for me. I could delude myself into thinking they did, like many millions do, but they really don't. I proved it to myself after I sold my house, gave all my furniture away, then afterwards I lived in a small pad with about 6 boxes of stuff. That stuff sat there for months at a time without me going into them. That's how much I needed material things next to a daily purging of the natural energy in my soul. The next thing to go was travel. The travel industry constantly advertises exotic places as the coolest thing in the world to do, to go see them. After I traveled quite a lot looking for a holy grail or an enlightened place where people were happier than anywhere else in the world, I realized that people are the same everywhere, the grass is green everywhere and the sky is blue as everywhere. Travel does no more for me than watching an average show on TV. My life is within me. I can't be swayed by anything out there. After that, I realized the career path I was on as a psychology teacher lost its luster for me because I didn't believe in the field of psychology anymore, nor did I feel that the students cared about it beyond getting a good mark on their transcript. I realized it doesn't matter if I'm the king of the world, have 20 Olympic gold medals and 5 Nobel Prizes, my life, therefore my mood/state of consciousness, is an ongoing process. You create your life as you live it. You can defeat mundanity, generic living, depression, and feeling like a loser simply by being active, releasing the natural energy you should feel within yourself that you were born with. Anybody who doesn't live by following their inner purity doesn't get it. They've betrayed themselves. They're living by artificial codes as opposed to their true natures, then wonder why, despite all the money, trophies, admiration, and success they might get from the outside world, they still feel a sense of emptiness inside, like they're just not quite there. Talk is cheap. It's all words that fade after about 10 minutes because nothing out there can compete with your inherent disposition inside of you. Even positive thinking is virtually useless. All solutions in life come down to action, preferably inspired action, but aesthetic, loving, and sensual actions are fine too. It has to be natural, like an intuitive flow from within yourself. If you sit on a couch and meditate like a so-called enlightened yogi, so what? The key to happiness is to release your natural energy with gusto and joy to reach a state of being where you're saying to yourself, I'm living, running with the spirit of my life. This is what I was born to fucking do. Sitting on your ass thinking how wonderful you are and how great the world is can't make you happy, because the real issue of life is self-respect, love, and the pursuit of euphoric sensations. You must release the inspired, loving, and sensual energy you feel coursing through your veins. If you don't, your inner voice/soul/subconscious mind tells you that you're betraying yourself. You can have fun hanging around with your intimates and friends and feel good for a while, but the bottom line is that our days are long, and this warm, comfy, easy-breezy feeling doesn't last because you spend the vast majority of your time alone in your head. What's your true nature? Who's the real you? It's simple. What is primal, original, noble, and beautiful about you? Who do you see in the fantasy action shots you occasionally get of yourself in your mind's eye? That's your soul/inner voice/subconscious mind/God talking to you. Who were you at 5 years old? What were you doing then? You're no different than that person now. Society has this big lie about growing, changing, and evolving to become a sophisticated, advanced person who has come so far, baby, as the cigarette commercial marketed at women used to say, but it's all a lie, because you are who you are the way you're born. The highest you can ever go in life is to discover your true nature and live by it. Nothing but you alone can create your life for today, one day at a time. I knew a former Olympic champion who had degenerated into an overweight, mundane-looking middle-aged guy. He had his gold medal proudly hanging on the wall in his living room. I knew another guy who had some article written about him in the newspaper based on a novel he wrote, which he hung up on his wall. Enlightened people don't glorify themselves with trinkets of past glories. You have to be true to yourself by living by your true nature every day. Don't lie by what you did in the past. The liberal arts illusion. Life without adventure is not worth living. Mitchell Hedges, explorer, founder of A Crystal Skull. In grade school, they teach a lot of useless stuff mixed in with the good stuff, which are 3 R's. The hidden agendas of school are to get you off this friendship kick with your fellow classmates and start competing with them for high marks, because capitalist society wants to get people to compete with each other at work and in the status game of keeping up with the Joneses, because then we're buying into that paradigm of life. We destroy ourselves working for these illusions, and we're easily manageable because we're living in this little box, not thinking our own thoughts away from this view of life. The second hidden agenda of school is to make you think that whatever they teach you is the gospel, dogmatic truth, and it's what really matters in life. This extends to the liberal arts subjects they teach in college and gets us brainwashed to think there are experts out there in every subject and we must trust them more than we trust our own thoughts because that's the way it is. Because of this line of thinking, many of us have given over our own personal power to think our own thoughts and live our own lives to the system. We just presume any talking head is right if he or she has a couple of academic degrees from a college or university, but there's nothing sacred in the liberal arts. It's all ideas created by people. Your ideas and your ability to analyze ideas are as good as anyone's, but the mainstream system has created this mindset where we don't think like that. We give them the power. Academic degrees don't equal wisdom. Anybody can be a good conformist student and earn a bunch of degrees, but it doesn't make you a great, deep, intuitive, or original thinker. The most detrimental area of life this has extended to are the fields they call mental health, psychology, psychiatry, and self-help. Most of these fields are a lie except for the studies they do on the organic, physiological brain. Everything else is something an individual created, and it's all trivial one-liners next to the free spirit ideology. Psychoanalysis is a big pile of crap. My past means nothing to my future. I can barely remember it anyway. All those self-help tapes and books are a big, lying money racket. Anything any philosopher wrote in the past was written by someone who couldn't relate to the lifestyle I'm living in the 21st century, which is why I can't believe too much of what they say. The bottom line is you figuring your life out for yourself, just like I'm telling you in this book. If you let illusions from the world and what other people say about you manipulate your way of thinking, that's a problem that you created yourself. The so-called experts and professionals pretend they know something profound I don't know about the human condition because they were indoctrinated in a school somewhere and presume this so-called knowledge is superior to insights I come to on my own away from the world's accepted doctrines of the liberal arts subjects. They don't consider the possibility that they are following an expansionist capitalist paradigm that is constantly pumping out new articles in academic journals and self-help books that could be, is, a bunch of fake knowledge because it negates the human intuition we're born with in favor of mechanical, quantitative research methodologies. It's like splitting hairs. You can only go so far in understanding other people's experience of the human condition, and the rest you can never know because you don't live inside anybody else's head. But they don't stop. They keep doing experiments, writing articles pretending they're on the cutting edge of human behavior research while I'm the free guy saying I know what my God endowed me with. That's as high as any enlightened human being can go, and that's what I live by. I don't need all this mechanical knowledge they're creating to give me my insights into the deepest levels of the human condition. If you listen and buy into their shtick, you are separating yourself from your true nature, selling your soul a little bit at a time for an artificial view of life not inherent to you. The big lie of elitism. From a moral perspective, we're constantly bombarded with messages of greed and indulgence by the capitalist, pop culture societies we live in. These are presented as positive qualities that represent success and happiness. The ideology is if you earn it, you have the right to take more than you need even if you exploit people, animals, and nature and buy useless, meaningless, frivolous things you don't need, while we're all perfectly aware of all the poverty and suffering out there. This is the most common transgression of our inherent morality that we commit. We get a bit of power and money which fuels our greed for more until we lose a hold of whatever goodness, kindness, or compassion we might have started out with. Yet our capitalist pop culture society is based on these values: get as much as you can for yourself and be a star, be famous, be a VIP, very important person, above other people in the illusory pecking order of socioeconomic status. Have others acknowledge that you're special so that they treat you better than they treat other people. This is why life is screwed in the modern world. This message is constantly bombarded at us through the mass media. We have a society structured on airs of elitism. When I see somebody go heavy on these airs, as in driving an overpriced car, using inappropriate big words when simple ones will do, consciously dressing very fashionably, go in heavy on the lipstick or wearing a brand of expensive watch, contrary to the popular myth that I should see this guy or gal as a winner superior to me. I feel sorry for them for being lost souls buying into this stuff. When I meet people, I'm looking for the real person. The less discrepancy there is between the way someone really is and the airs they're putting on for the world, the more enlightened they are and the more I like them. It's so obvious when someone is putting on an image yet millions of people do it. They're not fooling me. If I have any message, it's to tell you to throw off all those artificial ideologies you've been brainwashed by about status, materialism, money, being cool, having a successful image and simply live for what you feel by nature in your soul. The massive marketing machine. The massive marketing machine is always selling us self-indulgence. Their hook is to advertise things to make you feel good for a minute or two, kinda like the famous cheesy line, "'cause you're worth it." It's a bottomless pit of commerce to try to get you hooked on the idea that buying things is the key to happiness and well-being. Some little trinket like the latest music video will bring your mood up a notch for about 5 minutes, then you should feel like a sucker for buying this meaningless piece of pop culture trash. The malls are full of this junk. Watch the TV commercials and you'll know what I'm talking about. Any frivolous woman's magazine is full of ads and articles about all this meaningless stuff, but it never works because if it did, buying these things would reach a point of critical mass where it finally saturates you and makes you happy. Yet every month when I look through a certain women's magazine that a female friend of mine gets, they're always advertising and hyping up a new crop of meaningless, trivial products. Happiness comes from knowing who you are in your soul and living to honor it by releasing that natural energy every day. Don't live by what the world is trying to brainwash you with. Live by what you feel within yourself purely. The modern world has degenerated into a big brainwashing machine. This is the tragedy that nobody seems to want to admit to. Everybody is trying to sell you something, even how to live, as in all the self-help, psychobabble, new age, religious inspirational books around, when the truth is that the solution to your life is all inside of you. Psychotherapy is a con because it's based on mulling over the negative in a person's past with the presumption that they will confront it, therefore somehow heal, but it's all bull geared to keep patients coming back for more sessions, because the truth is that you create your life every minute from this moment on through what you do or don't do. Your thoughts from your past have no bearing on your life except for when you want to play the victim role and act like you have some post-traumatic stress syndrome, which is another con job that's keeping you so traumatized you can't function. You could have the worst traumatic experience any human could possibly have, then it's over. The only way it can affect you from then on is if you let it by choosing to think about it, wallow in it and act like a helpless victim, which is what the mental health industry wants, because they want to make money off you by keeping you as a helpless, traumatized patient forever. That's why the psychobabble industry is mostly a scam, except for the few people who actually have physiological, organic brain disorders. They're telling you that traumatic events stay with you and affect you, but the truth is that you create your life every single minute by what you do or don't do. Negative thoughts from your past are meaningless, just like positive thoughts are meaningless, because they can't help you unless they help you to take action to do something to release the natural energy in your soul. Day by day, happiness and mood come down to action or inactivity. If I release the natural energy in my soul with gusto, I always feel good. If I don't release it, I feel anywhere from mundane to bad, as in depression. The capitalist, pop culture industries want us to sit on our asses watching TV so we can see ads and fake, manufactured, trendy cool people so we can aspire to be like them by buying stuff, but the truth is just move. Everything is hyped up as the new big thing, then next week it's gone as something else is hyped up as the new transient thrill of the week. This is the lost society we live in, always looking to consume a new thrill as opposed to knowing our own purity as human beings and living by it. Selling useless stuff is the linchpin of our economy, but it's also the ruin of our society. We're a bunch of passive spectator consumer wimps taking more than we need or give back. There's our problem right there. Why society is screwed. People want what they see on TV and they want it now without working for it. Happiness in life comes down to one thing: do you have a strong spirit or a weak one? You create the power in your own spirit through what you do and how you live. The consciousness you have at 5 years old will never change. It will get covered over by the brainwash of the world, but it will never change. Underneath all your indoctrination from the world, you will always be that one essence of purity you were born as. Can you reach a sense of transcendence within yourself through what you do every day? If you can't, don't know how, or don't have the guts and the strength to do something where you come close to reaching your limits or outdoing them to give yourself a sense of inspired euphoria, you lose the game of life. It's that simple. I'll give you a simple example of massive societal brainwash. Recently, there was a big deal made about the fact that a so-called high-profile pop star was coming to do a concert in our little town. Some people camped out for 3 days in order to be first in line to get tickets. Everybody was asking everybody else if they managed to get tickets. What is watching anybody as a spectator supposed to do to give me, or anyone, some kind of a thrill to get me, or them, more excited about their life that comes close to the feelings and sensations I get when I do the tough, intense physical, creative, and inspirational activities I do every day? But there they were, a bunch of brainwashed clones acting all excited, even the reporters and journalists on the radio and on the TV news, as if watching this guy was gonna raise their lives up to a transcendent level of consciousness. Of course nothing great happened, because you can only create great feelings through what you yourself do, not through being a passive spectator of anything. A bunch of brainwashed clones went to the event looking to make the scene and capture some magical feeling of bliss, but aside from their rose-colored delusions, it was just another overrated pop culture concert, as all of them are, with this manufactured pop star, with his colored hair. How demeaning, for a man to color his hair while kids somewhere are starving, prancing around on a stage as any ordinary person would, but he was marketed as a special person, so the expectation and delusion was that he is special, but the truth is that there is nothing magical about him. He's just some aging, overrated media caricature image. It was a typical case of the emperor has no clothes phenomena, everybody brainwashed to think this pop star is cool, the pop star thinking he or she is cool, special, and superior. But when someone with common sense and a free, pure mind comes on the scene, he or she sees a bunch of empty people living by foolish pretenses, deluding themselves in a collective societal fantasy. The real you is you alone, away from all that stuff. When the president leaves his position, it's just him alone to live his life. When the big celebrity is signing autographs for fans, he or she doesn't know those people. There's no intimate relationship there. They can't do anything to help this celebrity's life unless he or she is a flake who needs their ego stroked. Chapter 4. I am what I do. The quest to be noble, or at least proud of yourself. Whales and dolphins have 4 lobes in their brains, humans have 3. They live in peace with each other, share their lives, and are not predators against each other. Who's more evolved, us or them? I don't believe we were born to be competitive. We were born self-centered, but that's all about getting what you want for yourself because you love yourself and love your life. You don't have to compete with other people to get what you want. You simply have to run your own race and ignore what other people are doing, so you don't get sucked into that I'm better than you, keeping up with the Joneses game of the capitalist ideology. Competition is something society has indoctrinated us to believe in. I was a friendly guy until grade 1, where we were supposed to compete with each other for stars in order to win the model car. Then in grade 2, I toppled the classroom genius nerd by beating him in class rankings without trying, because I wasn't aware that we were ranked in the marks we got on tests until the teacher told me I was number 1 in the class. I had the highest marks of anybody. I beat him. He didn't like it. He told me so, then invited me to his house to study his enemy, to learn what made me tick. That's how I got brainwashed to the capitalist ideal of competing with others, and kept playing that game until I was about 28 and realized it was all bullshit, because in my pure soul I got my own archetype of who I wanna be. It's got nothing to do with anything in this modern, mass media world we live in. I'm more primal and noble. I got this nature fantasy of Adam in the Garden of Eden in all his nakedness, purity, strength, and virility, who's got the inner power to do what he wants and laugh at all the fools playing their little, petty games of fake power within the little box of whatever closed system they're living in. There would be enough to go around if we were cooperative and shared the bounty of the earth with each other, but the game is to get what you can for yourself, exploit whatever is out there including nature, animals, and people, so you can live in extreme material excess and feel superior to other people. If this goes on unchecked, it will eventually be the demise of the world. If we were like whales and dolphins, we would live in groups in harmony with each other, sharing what we had, taking only what we need. We wouldn't abuse or kill each other. The Olympics are a metaphor for what's really going on in the world. On the surface, we pretend it's all about unity, peace, and brotherhood for humanity, but underneath we're striving to show the world that we are superior as individuals and our nation is more powerful than others by competing to win medals. Why don't they wipe out all references to nations in the Olympics and replace them with corporate sponsors? At least then, the teams will be multinational. It'll be random team A against random team B, so what? Nothing nearly as detrimental as countries thinking they're superior to others and / or God's chosen people. Why don't they wipe out the whole competition and have a world festival of culture instead? Some people feel a desire to be noble human beings. A noble human being is simply someone who wants to be the best person he or she can possibly be, both for their own dignity and honor and to better the world somehow. It's not someone who exploits it just to make money. It's someone who wants to help other people, animals, or the planet itself, as with the eco-environmentalists. It's that simple. You're either trying to make a positive difference for the world or not. If you've worked for 30 years and now get a pension, so you sit back, drink beer, go fishing and watch TV every day, you're not hurting anybody except for a few fish. But to me this would be an empty existence, because you're aware of all the tragedy in the world but not doing anything about it. I feel that the human should be going the way of the dolphin, to live in an egalitarian society where nobody has way more than they need while others are starving. Capitalism the way it's going now will eventually lead to a group of elitists and everybody else. The have-nots will revolt. There will be a war, then a new group of people will take over claiming to be wise, enlightened, benevolent leaders, but they will become elitists as they get corrupted to material excess and power. Then the cycle will repeat itself until we run out of natural resources and planet Earth kills humanity to cleanse itself. After you get your fill of material success and status out in the community, if you live by what you feel within yourself, you realize it doesn't mean anything, because the only two things that really matter are releasing your God-given natural energy every day to be proud of yourself and feel good. Culturing intimate connections with other people and pets, not necessarily sexual, just a connection where you feel united with some other person or animal for at least a little while. Everything else is bull. The capitalist, material world as we know it is good to the point where your basic needs are met, but beyond that, it's a big mess of exploitation and greed right now. All we have to do to solve world hunger and homelessness is to get rid of all of our military forces and use those resources to feed, clothe, and house everybody, but it's too simple. Then we get rid of most of our frivolous goods and give the money we save to the poor people to help them live better lives, still more modest than ours but better than the subsistence shacks they're living in now. Fat chance of that happening, yet we still like to think we're good solid religious folk. Then we wonder why the human race is so screwed up. We have so much, others have so little, then we go over to try to exploit them and wonder why they commit violent acts of terrorism against us. How would you feel if you were in their shoes and some fat cat came over and tried to abuse you? You can stop terrorism easily. Don't use, exploit, or demean other people. Work on making yourself the best that you can be. Sooner or later, you reap what you sow, at the very least through the mechanism inside your head that I call self-accountability. You intuitively know if you're truly a good person or a greedy, self-centered one. Overindulgence vs. inspiration. The material things you're surrounded by are interchangeable. I've lived at different socio-economic levels, all the way from mansions to dives. After a while I started to realize that my state of consciousness or state of mind didn't change regardless of what I was surrounded by materially, as long as I had my basic material needs covered, which comes down to a bed, some electricity, a few gadgets, running water, a toilet, and a functional car. I realized my life is in what I create every day through the release of what's in my spirit. The issue is one of spirit. We have let our spirits shrivel up as we become passive consumer spectators of what they're selling us through the pop culture capitalist marketing machine. The big corporations want us to be a bunch of pacified working stiffs who work then spend our money on the crap they're selling us to try to get us hooked on this materialistic pop culture junk in order for us to get some transient feeling of goodness, when what we should be doing is focusing on finding meaningful work from the inspired force in our souls and otherwise live by what's in there as opposed to what anybody is trying to sell us. If you have a strong spirit, you cannot be overweight because your inner standard, aka your sense of self-respect, refuses to let you yourself go. All overweight people have weak spirits. They'll never admit it, but excess weight is just spiritual weakness. That's all it is. That's why all diet plans fail. They focus on counting calories. They should be focusing on the human spirit. All you own is your spirit. Once you sell it for the delusions of the world, your life is screwed. You'll betray yourself little by little, day by day, by not releasing your natural, inherent energy, until one day when you'll realize you're just another generic person with a weak spirit who does nothing original or inspired. Enlightened, free people follow the pulse of their lives from the free spirits within themselves. It's all about releasing the natural free spirit that lives inside of you. As long as you don't harm other people, animals, or nature, that's the best way any human being can possibly live, simply because whatever created you made you that way. So in order to be in harmony with yourself and your God, you must honor it. The outside world is there for you to live in and learn from, but not to lose your individual identity to. If it gets to the point where you take on values from out there that supersede the purity in your soul, you become a lost soul and lose the game of life. Most people take on hobbies, career aspirations, socioeconomic status delusions, or pursue passive entertainment from the outside world. I'm not one to judge. It's a free world. You can do whatever you want, but the title of this book implies that I've found enlightenment, which I did, which is to give up everything you were brought up to believe in, then analyze yourself to figure out whatever is pure and inherent about you. Everything fades. You have to recreate your life or a good feeling of self-respect and joy every day. Everybody is ultimately a fair weather friend because at some point their agenda is different from yours. The only thing you got that doesn't change is your few archetypes. If you don't honor them, you got nothing, not even yourself. Make your free spirit soar to its highest heights. Some people think mundanity is happiness, a neutral feeling of complacency or comfort where you're feeling cozy in a bland way because you got all the food, beer, cutesy home decor and creature comforts you need. But my search for enlightenment has brought me to one main conclusion: the greatest life that anyone can possibly live is to know how to make your free spirit soar to its highest heights every day through the intense release of your natural energy. This is the only way you're gonna feel like you got that vital spark where you're tapped into that super force that lives inside of you. You keep feeling anywhere from good to great by constantly riding your life to release your free spirit in all the ways you deem worthy to match or exceed the inherent standard you have inside of the person you want to be. It's the only fountain of youth that works. Run with your life like it's a great ride of intensity, inspiration, beauty, sensuality, and love. If you can figure out what natural tendencies you were born with and release that energy every day to the point where you feel strong, euphoric, and free, you'll always feel good and inspired about your life. If you can figure out how to earn a living from it, you'll never work another day in your life. Your biography becomes your biology. Some pale-looking, overweight introverted nerd just ain't got it going on regardless of how many degrees he or she has or how many articles they published. Your vitality or lack of it determines how much you got your life figured out. All you really own is the natural energy in your soul. Will you unleash the spark that holds your potential joy for your life? Everything else that the world is trying to sell you or indoctrinate you with is somebody else's sales pitch or delusion next to this. Some people have natural joy, but most people don't, because they're both too weak to create it for themselves, and they've been massively brainwashed, even though many don't realize it. Most people sense that there is something missing in their lives and try to deal with it by buying into society's delusions like material things, new age ideas, pop culture entertainment, booze, drugs, junk food, fashion, image, and other capitalist pleasures. They think these things will fill them up, but they can't, because the issue is always one of spirit, not the sensual pleasures. The sensual pleasures are a great part of life, but only after you've honored your spirit for the day. If you haven't, the sense pleasures by themselves eventually leave you feeling empty. They're just momentary, transient thrills that can't compete with a soul that has reverence for itself. You have reverence for yourself if you make the effort to unleash the power within yourself all the time. That's what being an artist of life is. If you want to be noble, be true to who you were born to be. Live as an artist of your life, and you'll always be close to the person you were born to be. Don't do it and you will lose yourself little by little until the self-betrayal makes you feel mundane and your body and face show it. The Lost Bohemian. Most people choose the easiest path possible in life, but to aspire to reach the limits of your expression of the human experience is much more noble. Excel in a well-rounded sense. Ancient Greek ideal. I write the great eternal truths that all men live by. Marquis de Sade, literary porn pioneer. What really matters if you don't feel like a strong, vital being getting some highs out of the deal? I go hard and ride my waves of intensity, inspiration, and euphoria until I run out of gas, then enter the harbor for my soul, where I take it easy for a little while, then I'm off trying to get those feelings of intensity, inspiration and euphoria again, which is basically the crux of my life, to live for these experiences over and above every illusion the system tried to brainwash me with since I was a kid. Most people who are genuinely compassionate and altruistic are people who are happy with the way they're living their lives, happy with what they do day by day. By constantly releasing your inspired sensual energy, you stay loose and free. It makes you feel good and you want to connect with other people and do positive things with them and for them.